metal.
So, as an agent of the system, and despite his general hatred for humanity, Smith's behaviour still remained pragmatic when dealing with blue bloods, seemingly keeping casualties to a minimum. An example of this being when he ordered a police lieutenant to not confront Trinity when she was trapped inside a building, later claiming the order was for the sake of the police force's own protection. You know what I love about that? Like, Agent Smith shows more concern for humanity than Neo does, when he just flies through the air and obliterates like 4 city blocks.
That was to save Trinity, Carl.
My favourite bit about that is that speech from like Morpheus, where he says like every single person in the Matrix is a potential enemy. So in which case it's okay to shoot them. And do you know who else uses that justification? Every terrorist in the world. Of like everyone who is not directly in line with our very specific views is a valid target because they represent a potential threat to us.
And that's the thing is, it's just that an agent might jump into their body. It's not even that they might be a problem. It's that they might be like used by the agents to get close to, finding them.
With the scene that I always point out is like when they first enter that lobby, and it's like they just gun down a bunch of security guards. And it's like they're just all like regular people. You can argue, okay, yeah, they're not, the world they're living in is not real, but it is to them. They go to great lengths to explain that to the people trapped inside the Matrix. After a certain point, removing them from it, they're so ingrained within that world, removing them from it is akin to death. The only reason they do it with Neo is he's a special example. They think he's the one. Mm-hmm. So like gunning down like innocent civilians, and you can like, and then I think I've made a tweet about that, and a bunch of people like, but they're cops. And it's like, but you don't have to gun them down because they go to great lengths to show that Neo and Trinity are so skilled they don't need to shoot them. Obviously they wanted just the cool action scene. But I think a cooler visual thing would have been them fighting people with guns and just disarming them. And then an agent jumps into one and then they realize we've got to shoot everyone.
And that's the thing, they are people who are just security. They're not even cops, I believe.
Yeah, the cops turn up later, but like, no, when they first walk through that door, you see like just the 2 guys in white t-shirts, as like Neo opens up his leather jacket and puts 2 UZs into their chest. Like one of the guys
they're just paid security guards.
Yeah, one guy's reading the newspaper.
Yeah.
And just, I think, like, the way I summed it up is, there's something really unsettling about watching a movie where 2 people in black leather trench coats walk into a building with machine guns and gun down 40 people. Mm-hmm. As cool music plays.
And obviously, that's probably why they make it way more,
stylized.
Based around fighting the ghosts and the agent, like Smith just can beat everybody because that way that you're not raising any of those questions.
So I get why they have that speech. It's like, no, okay, so now we have a big action scene where every time they kill someone, well, they're not really alive. Like, but we know from the fact that Neo woke up that they are, and the fact that someone wants to go back into the Matrix as well shows that it's comparable to the real world. Like one of my favourite little details is that when the guy who wants to go back into the Matrix, he's cutting a steak with a butter knife.
Do we have a deal, Mr. Bateman?
I know this steak doesn't exist.
Right.
And my reading of that is that the Matrix makes the steak super, super tasty. Like, so impossibly so that he cuts it with a butter.
And yeah, it's one of those bizarre things of, okay, these are not any programs that you're gunning down or anything, these are actual human people that are in the Matrix, just like you were when you broke out.
The same way you are. They've not been given the choice that you have yet, and we hope to one day give them that choice. So they'll follow by, now fuck it, gun them all down.
Back up! Stand back up!
And Luke, are you ready for some other personality traits of Agent Smith?
Is it just he likes to multiply? He really likes to multiply.
I think he's possibly a masochist. A trait possibly brought on by never having truly felt pain in the Matrix. As such, when he inhabited the body of Bane, he began to cut himself, which I guess would be a a strange experience. Like, I've never truly felt pain. What is this sensation? This is what life is. Is this what people are fighting for?
I guess, yeah, it doesn't make sense to program them to feel pain, but it's weird that they were programmed to have human elements like a sense of smell.
Yeah.
But then at the same time, not pain, because, you know, I guess being this like, unkillable agent that's hunting down rogue people, it doesn't make sense to feel pain, but at the same time, obviously, pain actually is a very helpful thing.
Well, then you could just argue that well, if the pain is useful for avoiding danger, but an agent can just jump into another body whenever they want.
Exactly, yeah.
Smith has a very dark sense of humour, demonstrated like when he copied over a Resistance member, just see if I can jack out the Matrix. He utters a horrified "Oh God." Reply, Smith answers,
Smith will suffice. Thank you.
I like that. But the thing is that I really like his really dry sense of humour.
Mm-hmm.
And when he was, he's like, Mr. Anderson. I love it. Then he's got his powers and abilities. So, pretty basic. He's got superhuman strength, the ability to leap enormous heights and distances, superhuman speed, possession and sleep help, and the ability to just change reality to a limited degree, like when he makes Neo's mouth disappear.
Does it mention, like, forming a giant mech suit out of many Agent Smiths?
No, it doesn't. We'll get to that. But as an exile, as a result of Neo's attempt to destroy him, he became an exile unplugged from the system, though he still retained most of his standard agent abilities. He could leap enormous, like the standard abilities of an agent, but could also weather alteration from assimilating SATI programming and fly the Oracle's foresight.
Oh, yeah, because he at some point assimilates with the Oracle.
And SATI is obviously control the weather within an agent, and appearance and mannerism. The manner in which Smith speaks is similar to that of the late Carl Sager. There is also noticeable pauses at odd places in his sentences. Oddly, he doesn't use this manner of speaking when he's telling SATI he's not such a bad guy. So, potentially putting on like a false front to make it feel like more at ease.
I do very much respect the idea of going and hunting down the ability to control the weather just so you can make your final fight with Neo a bit more just dramatic.
And you did mention the final fight, you did mention Mega Smith. So in the Path of Neo video game, you have a separate bonus fight, which is like a completely non-canon ending, and then you have like an appearance from the Wachowskis, where they give this like really long-winded explanation of like why they're doing like, cool, the original ending means this, and I think they even have a bit of self-awareness where they realise, they say, what?
Choice and choicelessness, of free will versus fate, but that can only be achieved through an act of surrender, which occurs after he has abandoned the perspective of the nature of truth, accepting the totality of present consciousness, which ultimately allows an evolutionary transition. Transcending the Cartesian dilemma through the emergence of delimited spirit, which then provides the world with a choice, the third path, the path of Neo, the path of truth.
Now maybe that works in a movie, but in a video game, the Jesus thing is, well, lame. Really lame.
And then they just say, well, we decided to just end it with a giant robot fight, wouldn't that be cooler? And Agent Smith just combines with all the other million Agent Smiths and makes a giant Mega Smith. The thing is though, I prefer that ending.
So we suggested in China that we change the ending.
We thought it would be cool after Smith rose up screaming, "It's my world." The other Smiths jumped onto him, merging into one massive monster mix.
Because, like, I remember it happening in my brain. I was like, again, because I just rewatched The Matrix, I was trying to remember, like, did that happen in the fight, or was that from some other form of media? But that should have just been it. Just like Mega Smith.
Yeah, so he was like, and that thing that Wachowski had a little bit of self-awareness, and like, yeah, the ending meant this, and this result. Wouldn't it be cooler to end with a giant robot fight, which is what they do? And then there is one theory, speaking of fan theories, that the theory is that the One is not Neo, but Agent Smith. And I actually ascribe to this theory. Morpheus tells Neo in the first movie, the One was born in the Matrix and possesses the power to reshape it as he saw fit. He will eventually return, and his coming would herald the destruction of the Matrix, the end of the war, and humanity's freedom. And these powers and descriptions are not applicable to Neo, but they are applicable to Smith, who as a program was born in the Matrix, took over its functionality and gained the ability to reprogram it to his will. In doing so, additionally destroyed the Matrix and freed humans. But that's never been confirmed because that's way too smart. I think the Wachowski didn't realise how good that ending would be.
No, Cole, because Neo, if you spell it differently,
It spells the one.
And it's like, okay. Like, obviously they intended Neo to be the one, but it's way more interesting, as you say, to actually go with that theory. No, it makes way more sense. Like, Smith perfectly fits that entire description and does be like, he is the reason that Neo is the one to then defeat Smith. Like, he pushes that story forward.
And you have one of those, like, I think the Oracle one is talking, they're like, no, the machines are talking. They're scared of Smith. They're scared of what power he can do. But they're not scared of Neo, they're scared of Smith. Because Smith represents, like, an existential threat to the whole Matrix, which Neo does not. And they have to team up with Neo to take out Smith.
It's like, yes, Neo can, you know, change the reality in some aspect, but it's changing his reality within the Matrix, not the entire Matrix itself.
Yeah, like he's like, you know, literally, Neo can control it to his will, fly and do all sorts of crazy bullshit. We can't reshape it. Smith can. It's my favourite line in the entire film. I love that one. Like, basically, more. And they all run in and start kicking the fuck out of it. It's great.
That's the thing, you know, Neo can't make himself more Neos.
You can. Smith can.
And that would be terrifying. I mean, can you imagine the entire Matrix? Say, you know, obviously based on like 2000s Earth, like what, 6-7 billion population, and it's all just Agent Smith.
You know, it's like when he walks into the city in the third movie, it's like 1 million Smiths.
And again, they did have like a bunch of people come in for like that standing crowd scene, didn't they?
That great shot, yeah. But yeah, he's a fantastic villain, but just a series of, he starts well, the less said about the ending there, and the middle's kind of shit. And then they released another one after the fact, which put the final nail in the coffin, which was made as a fuck you to Warner Bros. Who's going to make it without the input of the directors anyway.
And all we can say is maybe the greatest part of it is Hugo Weaving as Agent Smith.
Yeah, and the Billy Ball. And if you enjoyed this video, well, why not like comment, subscribe to Wiki Weekend. So, you know, we do something like this every weekend with me presenting a wiki, Lucas presenting a wiki, and then a midweek podcast where myself and Lucas find a wiki each and talk about it at length.